It's Peter Claver from Claver Technologies, and I want you guys to please subscribe to this channel and click on the notification tab so that you'll be notified anytime there's a new tutorial. From this previous tutorial, we spoke about tables, and then we spoke about the table tag and the table header, table rows actually, and table headers and table data, that is table column. And actually this was the final render that we had last week in our previous tutorial, sorry. And I think this table sucks. It doesn't really look like the real table in real websites that we see, like having double borders. It's really not cool. So in this tutorial I'll be teaching you how to really remove this double borders and make it one border and then some other cool stuff. So let's dive into this tutorial. So what we can see here is what we have, a property we called border, and that's what's actually given all that we have here, the borders that they have. Now to do this we actually need a bit of CSS, just a bit of CSS. And even though we have not gone to the CSS part of this course, we will just require it to really complete this task. So I want you to be really attentive now because we're about to do something beautiful, and I want you to understand and get this. Um, Actually, we can add CSS in three ways. One is to add it as an inline style. So we do this, and everything we put inside here is basically gonna be CSS, but that's gonna be adding it as an inline style. We can also add it as an internal style sheet, and that's basically this. Okay, so we work our CSS over here. Everything that we write, our CSS code to be in here, and that's an inline CSS. An external CSS, we like creating another file, putting your CSS all inside, and then you link it to your HTML document, and then the CSS is picked from there. So actually, after we remove the border, you remember what happened? It's gonna supposed to be like this. Now we're gonna use CSS to add the borders to it. Now with CSS, everything you're gonna do, you have to actually be able to target whatever you want to style. And you can use the tag name or class one ID. And I don't want to confuse you with class and ID because we've not started with it yet, even though it is so basic. We'll talk about it in later tutorials. But we know about tags, so we use the tags. So we're actually going to target the table tag. And then we also want to target, now before then, let me explain something very important. In CSS, when I want to style the table tag, after I write the name of a tag, or I type the name of a tag, I put curly brackets, then I comment a couple of lines. It's not really necessary to comment a couple of lines, but I just want my work to be nicely formatted. So the next thing we will do is we want to really affect the border property. Remember what we used over there. And now it's not an equal to, but a colon. And after the colon, we really want to declare the size of the border, and that's going to be 1 pixel. And after that, I want to declare the type of the border, so that's going to be solid. And then after then, the color of the border, and I want to make it red. So if we save this, and then we return back to our browser and reload it, you find the table now has a red border around it. Do you get that? Now, I want to show you something before I get back to this. Actually, this could be another property called dotted. We should reload this. Find that it's really dotted around it like that. Okay, but anyway, we're gonna deal with solid, so we don't need that. But that was just by the way, that's CSS. I don't want us to get into that. What I want you to understand is let me undo this so that I add actually the border that was already here. I'll explain something to you, and then we created that to 1 pixel. So let's save this, and then we're gonna reload this. I think we saved that up, but I spelled wrongly. Which one? Oh god, we had into the style. Shouldn't be here. That was an error. Actually supposed to be on the table. Let's save that and then reload this. Okay, now what I want you to see is, I want to zoom this pretty close to you. What I want you to see is the first line is what we saw that was red. That's the first border. and that's for the table. Now, because we are declaring this directly on the table, it's actually affecting all its child elements or all its child tags. So it will affect the table head and it will affect the table data. It doesn't affect the table row because the table row doesn't really have any defined set. So it's affecting the table data and then the table headers. So that's exactly what is happening here. So the table data, the first one has its own table border, its own border. The age has its own border. Favorite has its own border. Name has the Peter Claver 20, and every one of them have their own border. So that's what we have to work on and remove with CSS. Sorry, I should have seen this. So I want to just undo this because I'm lazy. I don't want to type all those again. So I think just bring it back here. Oh no. Just redo, and let me undo this. And let me just type it. Now we're just going to waste more time in this tutorial. And it was 1 pixel, solid, and then I want to make this black now. Now, what we can do again is to copy the whole of this block of text and paste it here again. And then we change this to the table row, table header. And then if we come here and reload it, you find out that this was the red line, but now the table header to have gotten borders around it. You get it? And what I want to point out is not the output, but the code. Finally, we actually have the same command here, or the same property and styling here. And they are the same, like this styling is basically the same as this. So there would be no need actually to write twice of those. That would actually just make our code bulky. So I want to remove this and then I want to add it here. So now I want to give this same styling to another element. What we do is a comma, then we type that element, that is th. Now I also want to add that to the table data. So give a comma and then td. Sorry, I think td. Then we save this. So if we should come back here and reload that, you find out that this is the exact same table we had from the start. But now we're going to just use one property in CSS to change everything. And that is collapsing the border. So the border collapse property, what it actually does is it collapses all these borders and give them one line each. So border collapse, and the value of that is going to be collapse. I think you can remember that. Border collapse, collapse, border collapse, collapse. So we reload that, and then boom, we really have our table neatly and nicely formatted now. So the next thing I want to show you is actually how to create a table header for this, because this table basically we can only see name, age, and favorite color, but what does it talk about? Like, what names does it contain? Like, or whose names or which category of people? So we need to have a table heading for this table actually. And how do we do that? Consider if we come here to write another table header, is actually going to come to populate this. So we have to put it on top there. So it means you need a table row. So we actually have to write table row. Sorry, table row. Then we close that. Come down a few tabs and write another table row. And then in between that, we actually want to have our table header. So we have th. Then we close our th. And then in between the th, we now want to put what we want to put there, and that is awesome people. And let's reload this and see how it is. Boom, the awesome people is there, but we have a little problem because the awesome people actually did not span full width. It actually just spanned just this width, and that is one thing I want to show you. The HTML table really has a property called call span, and as the name suggests, what it does, it actually spans in a column span. That's what it actually means. And when I span it with a value, it's actually going to pick what we have here and then span with that value. So right now I want to span it with 2. So we are spanning 2 columns. Let's save this, return here, and reload it. You find that it has been able to span here. But actually we have more than 2 columns. We have 1, 2, 3 columns. So we have to span it 3 before it can cover the whole table. So we would say span 3, and let's see how it prints on the web browser. and beautiful. It has actually been able to cover that. So now we have our table header, that is awesome people, and under awesome people we have name, age, and favorite color. And under name we have Peter Clever. Under age we have 20 and that. So this is beautiful and a nicely formatted table. But I want to show you one beautiful thing, that the table actually does not contain just text alone. We can use the table to contain absolutely anything at all we want. So I want us to use to contain images. We can use to contain videos and audios and whatever that we want, but we're going to add images because that's what we learned. So we're going to make that beautiful right now. So let's come down here, and then we want to populate this table data. Want to populate it. So we just copy and paste that. And I want to add images to it. And you remember how we add images? IMG, and then we close that. And we have to give it an href1 src. If we set src, you're right. So we have to now define the image you want to put there, the location of the image, and what kind of image it is. So right now the images, I have copied them and they are in the same folder as my index file. So I don't need to really give a location, just need to give a name of the image and then the extension. And all these ones are PNG files. So brand 2, brand 8, and brand 12. So what we will do is write brand 2 because that is first. Sorry, and it's going to be a .png. Now let's save this and see how it appears in our web browser. Let's reload, and that's so huge. The image is so huge. You remember how we it's very huge, like too huge. Can't read it anymore. You remember how we nicely formatted our tables? Sorry, I shouldn't have toggled into this. We added a property to our images called height. You remember that? So we want to implement that today. You'll basically be using all the things you are learning right now in your future web development career or designing career, whatever you choose to call it. I don't care. So I want to give this 120 pixels, and we'll save that. And I basically want to do it for the rest of the. But let's just see how that looks like first before we actually do that for the rest. So let's just reload, and it's looking cool. So let's reset back to the way it was, and cool. It's really looking nice. What do you think? It's looking nice, like Amazon selling some stuff, the name of a product, the price of a product, a description about it, and so many stuff. But we actually didn't intend to do. We actually intended to add 3, so we have brand 8 and brand 12 more to add. So we just need to copy this because I'm lazy. You can decide to type them so that it sticks. And I want to make this brand 8. Sorry, brand 8. And then the last one, I want to make this brand 12. Then let's go back to our browser and see how it looks like. Wow, print out nicely. So now we have Peter Clever. Then we have 3 images stacked to it in the table, and this is really looking beautiful. No CSS, just HTML, and it's really awesome. So I think that is it for this tutorial, and stay tuned for the next tutorial. And that's it. I'm logging out.